Okay, you're good.
Okay, so we have Alan Sorensen from the Planning Department, Commissioner of Planning. We have myself and Ashley Long and Lauren Burns and Rob Parrington from the Planning Department. And then I see on the line, we have John Ravella, Jacob Tawil, Mike Sweeten, Al Fusco, Bert Thielander, who is with the Citizens Foundation, who is on the agenda for a discussion item. We have Nicole Farmer and Sandra Jobson from NISTOT, Scott Manley, and Jack Farr, Glenn Gadali, and then there's some numbers I don't recognize.
Gary Spears, Deer Park.
Thank you, Gary.
Hello, Gary.
Good morning.
Anyone else?
Brian
Jason Morris, City Newburgh.
Oh, right. Sorry, Jason. Jason was on early.
John Ravella, Village Walden.
Dave Lake, Middleton South TCC.
Morning, Dave.
Morning.
Hi, good morning. Frank Filiciotto, Creighton Manning Engineering.
And Brian Marr, Town of Montgomery.
Hi, Brian. All right. I think that is everyone. All right. So do you want to, ready to start the meeting, Ashley?
Yep, we're good.
Okay, all right, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. We just did the introductions and the roll call. I'm now going to move to the opportunity for public comment. Do we have anyone who is here for public comment? Hearing none, we can move to item 3, which is accepting the meeting transcript from the June 9th, 2020 meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you. Ashley, did you move the agenda on the screen?
I did.
Can you lower it down for a second? Oh, all right. Well,
You should
okay. The
be able to see it.
next item on the agenda is the statement from the Pathways Committee of the Orange County Citizens Foundation. As I said, we have Bert Thielander on the line, and Bert is the chair of the Pathways Committee, and he would like to give OCTC an overview about Pathways and talk about some of their recent accomplishments. And I'll turn it over to Bert.
Thank you very much. So, the OCCF Pathways Committee has been functioning for several years. You've got the mission statement in front of you that we revised back in November of last year. And then you've got some recent committee accomplishments listed in a few bullets. I'm not going to read all that. You can look at it at your leisure. We've been trying to develop trails and walkways within Orange County. And we've been trying to collaborate with a wide array of elected officials, appointed officials, not-for-profit groups to try to promote trail, walkway development, non-motorized transportation opportunities. We have Amanda Dana, Jim Brooks, and Ashley and Julie who attend the committee on a regular basis. We have John Vero, Peter Toohey, from the Orange County Legislature attend on a regular basis. And we've been trying to increase the collaboration that we have with Ulster County representatives, Sullivan County representatives to try to get a sense of what's worked in those counties to try to promote success in Orange County. Some of the committee accomplishments that we listed, just a couple things I wanted to highlight. We've looked at the Orange County Comprehensive Plan. That's not listed in the bullets, but that was revised back in January of last year. and there's a transportation component related to non-motorized transportation that was revised, I think, in November of last year. So we really want to engage you folks because you're elected representatives, appointed officials, engineers, and we want to get a sense of how we, the Pathways Committee, can more effectively collaborate with you folks. And a couple things we wanted to talk about, or I wanted to talk about with you today and maybe get your feedback about is how, like, what would the value be to inventory assets within Orange County that might lend itself to non-motorized trail, non-motorized walkway development? And then how would we go about prioritizing those options? Because we do believe that there's economic benefit to non-motorized. We believe there's potential tourism growth. We've talked with Amanda about that in Orange County. We think non-motorized options have health wellness benefits and also energy conservation benefits. And we'd like to collaborate with you about how we might inventory assets, how we might prioritize what might lend itself to funding, development, grants, state funding, federal funding, because I looked at your minutes over the last few years and got a sense of how that works. So I don't want to take up a lot of your time. I hope I haven't talked too fast. So thoughts you have about like our goal as far as promoting non-motorized, suggestions you have about how we might move non-motorized forward. We know that funding is really scarce, if at all existent right now because of the pandemic. We know county funding, state funding is really seriously disturbed by all the money spent on the pandemic. But thoughts you would have about what I'm saying, ideas you would have about how we may collaborate with you or how we might promote non-motorized options and perhaps seek funding opportunities? Questions you have for me? I know I've talked with Gary Spears in the past about this because I'm a Deer Park resident. I know Al Fusco has been involved with the Deer Park in terms of engineering, and we've tried to promote non-motorized in the Port Jervis Deer Park area. Questions you have for me? Thoughts? Makes sense.
This is Jacob Tawil, City of Middletown. I think you got the right players on the table sitting with you, from Jim Brook to the Commissioner of Planning and his team.
Yes.
They are very much familiar with the trails that are being constructed throughout Orange County and what plans we have available in the city, at least in Middletown.
Yes.
So I think you're in good shape as far as people participating without, blowing it wide open. So everybody's on the committee. And if you need anything from us, please let us know, and we'll be happy to share with you. But Jim Brook and the Commissioner of Planning, both of them, they're very much aware, and their teams, they're very much aware of the trails, Heritage Trail, other spurs of the trail that are going through the city of Middletown, and the construction that's taking place right now.
Yeah, I know with that Heritage Trail extension, it's been very positive. We're very grateful for the money spent to move that forward. And I know we did a lot of work with Dave Church prior to his retirement, and Ashley and Julie have been very active with us. And we're hoping that Al Sorensen, I think he's on this call, hopefully he can perhaps come to a meeting and learn more about what we're trying to accomplish. Because I know he did a lot of work with Heather Jaxie in the Sullivan County before he came to Orange County. So we hope that he understands the benefits and can be supportive.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this is Alan Sorensen. You definitely count me in. You're preaching to the choir here. So
that's my sense. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're going to have a virtual Pathways meeting in early September. I think Ashley and Julie are aware. If you're able to take part in that, Al, that would be great. If not, perhaps some of us could talk on the phone with you, because I know you've been an advocate in Sullivan, and we're very grateful that you're now participating in Orange.
I'll definitely make myself available.
Thank you. Other, like, am I making sense? Am I not making sense? Suggestions other than what the two folks have offered already?
How do we contact you, Bert?
My email is B as in boy, T as in Tom, HELANDER, B Thielander, just like my name, at hvc.rr.com. I check my email frequently, and my home phone, 845-754-8876. So please reach out. We're trying to be more proactive, and you know, we've done a lot of work with New York, New Jersey Trail Conference, OCLT, Orange County Land Trust, you know, trying to promote development within Orange County effectively. Other questions? And Al, I'll look forward to hopefully you're taking part in that call, that virtual meeting, and perhaps we could talk on the phone if you'd like, before then, after then, whatever works for you. I'm sure you have a lot on your plate.
Bert, I look forward to speaking with you further on this. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Bert, thank you. It's been nice working with Pathways. We're going to continue the collaboration as far as inventorying and collaborating on projects and trying to prioritize which trails and non-motorized access points we take a look at.
Yes.
We'll continue to collaborate with Pathways with respect to what priorities have been outlined by OCTC in the Long Range Transportation Plan and in the Orange County Comprehensive Plan, and looking forward to continuing work with you, Bert.
Thank you.
Okay.
I can't hear the person talking now. Who might that be?
I think that was someone offline, Bert.
Okay, got it.
All right, so Bert, we're going to move on the agenda.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome, and we'll follow up.
Yep. So should I sign off, or should I stay on, or what would work best?
It's up to you.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're going to move on to the business at hand, which is the Transportation Improvement Program items. We have a draft tip amendment, OCTC 20-06. And then we have some discussion items on the Middletown pins for the traffic operations stages 1 and 2. So Ashley, I'll turn it over to you if you want to start with the tip amendment.
Yeah, thanks, Julie. So this wasn't originally on the agenda when it was sent out last week, but we added it since then. So this is for 2 new DOT projects. The first one is to resurface I-84 from Route 6 interchange in the town of Greenville to the Route 17M interchange in the town of Wayanda. And the second new pin is to resurface Route 17K from Route 300 to the City of Newburgh line in the town of Newburgh. There's no offsets needed as this is coming with its own funding. Does anyone have any questions about these 2 pins?
What's the timeline for them, Ashley? Ashley, what's the timeline for them? Do we know?
They're both scheduled for 2021.
So construction starting 2021 or design?
Yes. No, they're both for construction. The funding that's on the tip is for construction.
construction, so design is done. Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so that will go out for public comment, and at the next voting meeting will be on the agenda. So, okay, and then the next item up is something we've been talking about for a while now. It's the, oh, well, here, I'll put this up. The City of Middletown's 2 traffic operations pins. They have a request for funding in, and as it stands now, it looks like they need a total of $12.341 million to be able to go out to bid. Jacob, did you want to give everyone an update on your projects?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I'll be happy to. Good morning, everyone. Actually, the cost estimate at this time, Ashley, is about 16 and a half, $16.5 million in construction. It came down from 18 plus million dollars. Hopefully we can get it lower. We're working on that. And the idea is the communication, fiber optic communication between intersections will be done instead of buried underground. We're going to be hopefully putting them on existing utility poles, hence minimizing the cost of construction. So that's where we are. We will be able to get you a better cost estimate for the project in a couple of weeks. The project at this time, 29 intersections, were due to be submitted last night from WSP to DOT local projects for final design, review, and approval. So I'm hoping that the plans were submitted by WSP to the DOT. DOT local projects office has been working very closely with us, and we have been addressing their concerns, and they've been very responsive to our concerns. And we appreciate that very much in order to keep this project on track. This project, as you know, we have funding scheduled for this fiscal year, which means we have to advertise this project for bid by the end of next month. So prior to the start of the federal fiscal year 2021 and October 1st. We are trying to structure this project. We understand it's a large project in there, but that's really our chance to take, just one bite at this apple and get it all completed, because it's really vital to the city of Middletown, infrastructure, its progress, its development and redevelopment. Right now, just another background in here, we are busy in construction regarding DRI funding. It's about $4.5 million are being constructed down from my office in James Street in there, creating green infrastructure, redesigning the parking lots. And that's one aspect. The other aspect is incorporating ADA, curbs and sidewalks at intersections throughout the city. And that's about $4 million. Those 2 projects, the construction is taking place as we speak. With that comes the traffic operation that ties into it. Traffic operations will include upgrading all the traffic, the signalized intersections in the city, incorporating ADA measures, and that being said, this project really fits into all of our moving projects in here to get the city of Middletown back in good shape and ready for this. Hopefully, is going to be a tremendous economic boom in the city. With that being said, this particular project, with the cost around $16 million, right now we have about $5.6 million available in construction for us in phase 1. In phase 2, we have $125,000 that's available for us for construction. We will be short for this base bid, which is we're going to bid this project basically in base bid, alternate 1 and alternate 2. And the reason why we're doing it this way is to comply or to try to take advantage of the available funding on the tip that is not committed. That's the reason why we're dividing it. So we're going to have with the base bid approximately $7 $7.5 million. That is the construction funding. So we will be requesting to tap into the $1.771 million that are remaining, that are available in 2021 under the STBG large urban. We have $1.771 million available. We would like to take advantage of that. When we take advantage of that, as well as the available funding that we have under our project, the base bid will be for $7.5 million. That will be the base bid, the base bid. Alternate one will include the available funding on the STBG, again, large projects, urban, for $3.899 million. There's money available there. So we will structure our bid so that that construction will not start until 2022. And then in 2023, we have on the tip, the pins, the available funding is $5.355 million. We would like to take advantage of that. So the construction for phase 3 will not take place until 2023, where that federal funding is available for us again in 2023. That will conclude our project. So we're going to have a base bid for $7.5 million. Alternate one will be for $3.89 million. Alternate two will be $5.3 million. And these are right now, rough numbers based on the current construction estimate, which will be fine-tuned in a couple of weeks. We will have much better construction estimate for the entire project. So that's where we are. Base bid, alternate one, alternate two. We will conclude the construction hopefully in 2023, 2024. Do you have any questions?
Jacob, this project is eligible for CMAQ, which is sometimes harder for projects to use. So I might suggest that we utilize some of the CMAQ funding and leave some of the large urban funding for other projects that might be able to use it. So just a switching in how you're.
That's a good point. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And there's a lot of money still, millions of dollars still available for CMAQ. And we can switch, we can use the CMAQ instead of the large urban funding pocket. Absolutely. Good point, Ashley.
Okay, so I'm showing the block pins on the screen, so if anyone's interested. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I had a question. So the 1.77, is that programmed already for this project?
No, that's the leftover funding in the large urban. Leftover funding in the tip, that is not committed money.
Where does that show up, Ashley?
It's in the block pin.
It's on the screen.
In 8BLK03. So it's in 2021 currently.
So the project's gets let this year, but obviously it's got to get bid, so it's not going to get constructed to 2021, correct?
Yes.
They have, there is some funding, right, in 2020 right now that Middletown already has.
Right.
But right, construction will begin.
Is that the $5 million that Jacob talked about?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 5.6, Mike.
Okay. So Ashley, can you send out if you're going to revise this to CMAQ, can you send that out so we can see what's left in the large urban?
Yes, if you give me 1 second. I did draft something. It's not quite in line with what Jacob is saying, but I could change it. If you're looking at the screen, I will send something out after the meeting for those of you who are looking at the screen. But so we can play with the numbers. So I have a spreadsheet up. It's basically a from to. So there's what's currently listed in the CMAQ and the STP large urban tip funding now, a potential draft allocation for Middletown, and then what would be the two that end up being left in those blocks, is what you're seeing on the screen. So I had drafted it differently, but I can play with the numbers right now.
So there would be there would be $8 million left in large urban. Is that what I read? If you were able to shift CMAQ?
Yes, Mike, yes. That's what Ashley's showing, yes.
That's in your third block, right, Ashley?
Yes, so CMAQ for the third block. I was showing in my version, which isn't lining up quite with what Jacob was saying, I was allocating basically all of the CMAQ to this project
Right.
instead. So, yeah.
And that leaves,
Large urban.
and that leaves 8 million for the rest of the county projects through the end of the tip. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And as you stated, large urban is easier to access for most other communities.
For most other communities, you do need to be in the urbanized area. So it does leave some communities out. But CMAQ, you know, I think everyone realizes, you know, CMAQ comes with some, you know, you need to go through an analysis, and it, you know, there's more effort to use that funding. So.
Yeah, that's the congestion mitigation one, correct?
Right. So I can send out a more finalized version of this, but this is just kind of what I'd come up with at first. So I don't know how people feel about that. If we use all of the CMAQ, Jacob, you're not anticipating using any of the 2024 funds, though, right?
2024, hold on one second, please. No, that's what I said. What I said, Ashley, if you take our, the large urban, the 1.77, 3, and then that's in 2021, 2022, 3.89, and then 2023, 5.355. That's all we need.
Right. Okay.
So 2024, we don't need anything, no.
Okay. I guess the question for the rest of the committee is, there would be no more funding left in 2021, and then there would be limited funding in 2022, I believe, very limited funding left in 2022, and then a small amount of funding left in 2023, and then the full amount that's being shown in 2024.
Do we have to move this 2020 money?
No, 2023, actually, you have a lot of money left. You have $3.78 million left.
Right, yeah, I'm just saying that this is how there would be a different breakdown.
Yeah, but you have a lot of money left. Throughout
right,
the
people.
years.
I'm just making sure that people are comfortable that it's in 2023. There would be less funding for 21 and 22. So if any of the other projects had a need for funding, it wouldn't really be available until 23.
Ashley,
hey, Ashley, it's Sandra. I'm speaking from New York State DOT. Just one thing also to consider is that getting money programmed and spent in 2021 at this point in time is very difficult. So if you do have a do you know what I'm saying? It's a positive for this, I guess, this proposition is that getting your monies that you have available in 2021 tagged to a project that looks like it's going to definitely get delivered, that's a positive. So I just wanted to throw in that, you know, one piece.
Sure.
Well,
thanks, Andrew.
We don't have to move the 2020 money since it's not going to be spent this year? Do we have to move it out?
No. 2020 fund is no, it's fine because the money is going to be committed once we advertise the project for bid.
They're looking to bid by the end of September this year.
Fine.
Okay.
Fine.
So
Gotcha.
they're looking to obligate it.
Thank you. Yep.
This is Al Fusco. I think you may need to recheck your numbers though, because you know, we're looking at 1.7 in 2021, 3.9 in the following year, and 5.35. And if you're going to go all with CMAQ, then it will impact 2024.
Okay. Yeah, actually, so the number that Jacob's giving me and the number that I had been given previously are a little different. So after this meeting, I'm going to go back and double check all of these and send out a revised version of this spreadsheet.
Yeah, and give me a call
for everyone to review.
Yeah, give me a call if you have any questions too. We can, I'm not sure where you got, but give me a call when you're ready, just before you send it so we can find fine tune it and take a final look at it in there. Again, the final numbers really will be coming from WSP in 2 weeks for the finalized cost estimate. Right now, they're putting like 80 hours a week just to
Right.
get the plans
think-
ready to go to DOT.
Well, yesterday when we talked, Jacob, I think you quoted me about an $18 million cost. And then I think you just said it was about 16.5 million,
Yes,
so.
hopefully, yes, and hopefully it's gonna be
Compare
closer to 16, yes, Ashley. Hopefully it's gonna be closer to the
Okay.
$16 million in there, and the reason why we're saying it is just they're focusing on the design right now, and then we're going to focus on the construction estimate very shortly. But if we can get away with putting the communication lines on existing utility poles, that's a saving of about $2.5 million in there. So instead of burying the fiber optic, will go on the poles. And, you know, it's not the most, obviously, it's not the most desired installation or construction, but we have to live with what we have. I mean, you know.
Right. Okay. I think there might be an issue though with obligation this year, the way, like the timeline that you're suggesting. So
What do
if
you
you're
think?
not, because
do you
I
mean?
believe anything that needs to be obligated, Sandra or Nicole, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we're coming down to the wire because it's the end of the fiscal year, correct?
Yeah, but that's what
That's
Sandra
correct.
just did. It's to our advantage. It's to the Orange County Transportation Council advantage to obligate this $1.77 million to this project that is moving. Because otherwise this money will not be obligated. That's what Sandra just finished saying.
Yeah, but that's
Right.
once, we still have time on that. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that's an advantage, but we do still have time on that. Once, you know, the PSC is submitted successfully and, you know, we can see what the construction estimate is. Honestly, I was under the impression that everything you just said was based on an engineer's estimate. It kind of raises a red flag that these numbers aren't based on an engineer's estimate.
Yes, sir. Yes, they are. I did not say that. What I said is they are based on the engineer's estimate, and they are being fine-tuned as the design is being finalized. The only thing in there that I mentioned is they're all engineer's estimate. I did not grab these numbers out of the air and say, let me use $18 million. Those are actual engineer's estimate. And the only thing we're hesitant to say they're finalized because we are exploring the idea of putting the communication wires on utility poles. They're absolutely solid numbers, what we've been given so far.
Okay, all right, good. That
As
clarifies
design,
that. Thank you.
as design is being finalized, so would the cost estimate. That's typical in any engineering project.
What we did, this Al Fusco, is that we've got the engineer's estimate with WSP Sells and myself, and we are now value engineering it with Jacob to get the numbers to you know, come down a bit to make it more palatable for Orange County Transportation Council to help us out with the program, because it's an excellent program, and we're looking forward to it. Hopefully we'll be to bid before the end of fiscal year, and that way you can allocate the funds.
Ashley, can you get the sheet sent to us so we can see it?
Yes, I will send it after the meeting. There's some other items that are coming up that I'm going to be sending some information about too, so I'll just include this. I think, Jacob, at this point, I think we just need to have the final cost numbers so that we can talk about exactly what's needed
Okay,
or to
Ashley.
be allocated from the block.
Ashley, I've been asking for this since 2019. I mean, where we got it, the finals, the numbers will continue to evolve. Okay, so we'll give you the final numbers, but this is where we are. This is where we are. You know, I'll give you what I have, but we can't keep pushing it back. You got to give us more. You got to give us more. Give us a schedule. We've given you everything in there.
Right, but I don't have any final cost amounts that you're needing.
Okay, the final.
So it's hard to allocate funding. Yesterday it was 18 million, and today you're saying it's 16.5, and I understand where that number is coming from, but is that the final number that you're looking for then?
Yesterday, Ashley, I did tell you that, and you told me that WSP also told you that the number will go down by hanging the wires on the utility poles rather than going underground. We told you that.
They told me that they might go down, but that they hadn't been approved yet.
okay, and that's what I just said. And that's, we're having a conversation going with the DOT in there. And that's the number you need to look at, about $16.5 million, okay? If things don't work out in some way or another, we'll have to make decisions. But these are the numbers as we speak. In 2 weeks, the minute I have the final numbers, I will release them to you and you can send them out to everybody, by all means. But I'm not gonna, I don't wanna keep saying, okay, Middletown needs to give us some more information. Everybody's asking, it's all there. We're gonna go out for bid at the end of next month. It's all there. DOT should have had the final design plans today. I mean, this is it for us. So we'll give you the information again, but we're looking at $16.5 million in construction. Hopefully it can be less.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I'm going to ask for you to maybe put some of this in writing so that I know exactly what you're looking for. And when I send out the revised spreadsheet, we're all on the same page. That's all. But 16.5 is fine.
Okay, Ashley, I'll send you I'll send you an email with what I just said.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions right now regarding the traffic operations projects? Okay.
Yeah, no, I had one.
Great.
Sorry, Ashley.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. So when does this need to be decided by? Because I know it's on a tight timeline with scheduling the funding. So this has to be decided soon, right?
Yes.
It does.
When's
Yes.
our next meeting?
I was hoping that we could decide today, but it looks like people maybe need a little more information.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Ashley. You keep saying more information. I don't know what more information I'm going to give you.
Ashley, can I ask a question? So
sure.
The 1.771 is what's available. It's what Jacob needs. There isn't any other project in 2021 requesting that money. Is that correct?
Not currently, right.
All right. So then there doesn't seem to be an issue in allocating it.
Okay.
I'd agree.
In my opinion, right?
No, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you, guys. That's exactly what we're looking for. Thank you very much.
So it sounds like the 2021 funds, everyone is okay to allocate towards Middletown.
Correct. And if his numbers, his base bid comes more than 7.5, he's going to have to fund it somehow from the city, you know, and whatever.
Okay.
So I'd make that motion to allocate it if you need that.
Yeah, I'd second that.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Is everyone in agreement with that? Anyone opposed, I guess? Okay. Hearing none. We'll move the 2021 funds to the city of Middletown. And then I'll still work with Jacob and revise the spreadsheet and then send it out as part of the email after the meeting.
Yeah, I'm still interested to see how we allocate between the CMAC and the large urban, because we want to keep as much flexibility for other communities going forward.
Right.
Yeah, and I agree with Mike. I agree with Mike 100%. So whichever is more advantageous to the entire body, Orange County Transportation Council, that's what we would do. Absolutely.
Thank you.
If we got to take more CMAC, we'll take more CMAC and let the other funding slide for other people to tap into, which is easier to.
Okay. Okay, and then Jacob, actually, if you give me 1 second, I will. So, some quick math here. I think, based off of what Jacob was saying, running through the alternate bids, this could potentially be what we're looking at. So if we're allocating the 2021 funds, there would be nothing left in 2021. There would be $800,000 left of the large urban in 22, and then 3.787 of the large urban in 23, I believe. And then everything in 2024 would stay. So, but I will send this out after the meeting.
Yeah, that would be good. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you.
Okay. If there's no other questions, I think we'll move on to the local project sponsor updates. Whoever wants to kick us off.
Well, that's Mike Sweet. I got that high priority trail thing. We're racing to get it done. DOT's been working with us. We got kind of sideswiped by DEC somehow, but I think that's resolved. So we're still on track to make our obligation to meet this fiscal year.
Okay, great. Anyone else have any updates they'd like to share?
Well, I just updated you.
Ashley, it's Jason, City of Newburgh. I'll give you an update on some of our projects. We have the Lake Drive Bridge over Quisay Creek that's currently under construction. The contractor is Mickles Construction. They're kind of new to New York State area. They have a number of new projects in the area, including the Lake Drive Bridge. That project is on track, on schedule to be completed by hopefully the end of the year, beginning of next year. We have the Lake Street, that's the Route 32 bridge. That bridge has design approval and is going out to bid for construction. Our Walsh Road Bridge over Quisay Creek is moving through final design and right-of-way acquisition. Our Liberty Street streetscape project, that's a sidewalk project, ADA curb ramps, and combined sewer bioswales demonstration project in the city of Newburgh. That project has been awarded to Consorti Brothers for construction. And then we have the Broadway pedestrian traffic signal improvements projects. There are two different pins along the Broadway corridor to redo all the traffic signals and ADA curb ramps from Grand Street all the way to 9W. That project is currently in preliminary design and right-of-way incidentals.
Great, thanks, Jason. And have you heard anything about your earmark project?
Nothing further yet. So the council knows we're looking to move our earmark funds to cover some additional construction costs on the Lake Drive Bridge and the Walsh Road Bridge.
Thanks, Jason. Okay. Does anyone else like to give an update?
Actually,
Jack,
Go ahead.
We're just finalizing some punch list items. We ended up finishing our project probably 6 months ahead of time. Other than that, we're trying to do some closeout paperwork with DOT now, and we should be pretty much completed with everything.
That's great to hear, Jack.
Thank you.
Jacob, did you want to give some updates?
Yeah, thank you, Ashley. The ADA project in there, we're working with the DOT again, and that was a leftover earmark that we were able to take advantage of. And DOT pushed it through for us quickly with the design approval. And now we're going through the construction, and it's moving very well. And that's ADA curbs and sidewalks throughout the city of Middletown. And we're very excited about that. So we're in good shape.
Great, thanks. Anyone else? Okay, thank you. I'll send out the spreadsheet for everyone to review, and yeah, so there'll be an email after this is really what I'm saying. So, okay, I think, Julie, we can move on.
Okay. Very quickly, I'll give an update on some old business because we do have a lot of new business to discuss, and I know some people have a hard stop at 11. So just a quick update on the West Central Transportation and Land Use Study. As you all know, I think the last update I gave, we put the project on hold or on pause for the summer in terms of traffic counts. We're going to put them off till September. But we are not just completely on pause, because we do have a survey that we have posted that is mainly focused on the 3 corridors, which again are Route 94 and Academy Avenue in Chester, Route 17M and Dulcin Avenue in Middletown, and Route 211 from the 17 on off-ramp to Goshen Turnpike and Walk Hill. So the survey focuses on travel experiences on these 3 corridors, as well as it asks for, suggestions in terms of improving the corridor. There is a COVID component to the survey, which asks about travel behavior before COVID and then post-COVID. So, community outreach is a big part of this. It's a federally funded study, and we have requirements in terms of public participation. Public participation is a challenge under the best of circumstances. With COVID, it's been even more difficult. So we're going to be shifting our focus since there are no community meetings and not a lot of community events happening. We're going to be shifting to a greater virtual push. So I just wanted to reach out to the supervisors again. If you have any community contacts that you could provide us, whether it's the senior citizens groups, youth groups, church groups, any community groups, clubs, the grassroots organization contacts, your volunteer base, if you could get those community contacts to us, that would be greatly appreciated. And you can follow up with me after this meeting if you do have any suggestions, because we really need to make sure we cast a wide net and we're reaching everybody in terms of public outreach. I don't have an update on the survey itself, other than I know there's been 79 responses so far, and we're going to keep it open for quite some time, I think at least till fall. But we would like to repost it and kind of cast a wider net, and as well as build that community base so that we can start doing some focused outreach in the fall. So that is it on West Central. Again, if anybody has that information and could please share it with me, you know your communities best, and we greatly appreciate that. Now I think we can, unless there's any questions on that, we can move on to new business. We have a couple of new business items related to performance targets. And then we do have a new program that we are proposing that we would like to discuss. So Ashley, you can start with the transit asset management target updates, as well as the safety performance targets.
Sure, Julie. So the first item under new business is the Transit Orange Transit Asset Management Target Update. So if you recall, the STA Transit Asset Management Rule requires transit operators to develop and maintain a transit asset management plan. And so Transit Orange and the MTA actually are the designated recipients for FTA funding in Orange County. And they have set performance measures as required. And so Transit Orange has recently updated their targets. So I'm going to turn it over to Rob to maybe explain them a little more.
Yeah, thanks, Ashley. So that was a good explanation. When we worked on the transit asset management plan itself, we realized that we needed to update the targets that you folks had seen previously to better reflect the actual asset class and the useful life of the bus. You may recall the dial-a-bus operators will certainly recall that at one time the useful life for the dial-a-bus when we first did this, the target was 10 years, which is overly optimistic. So we were able to get some flexibility and bring it down to the 5 years, which is what everyone's used to, which means after 5 years a dial-a-bus is eligible for replacement if it's in, if it meets certain criteria. So that's just what we did, was we brought some of the over-the-road buses was at 14, it's down to 12, which is what it traditionally had been. So we're just bringing these targets in line with what our transit asset management plan has in it.
Does anyone have any questions for Rob about the targets? Okay. This is another action that needs to go to vote. So at the next voting meeting, this will be on the agenda as well. And then in the same topic, if you'll recall, so New York State, the final Highway Safety Improvement Program rule requires the state to set performance measure targets. So this action would be the annual support of the DOT established statewide highway and non-motorized performance targets. So the state sets the targets and the MPOs are able to support them. And so I'm asking the committee if they would support these new targets. This is a fact sheet that they send out, which was included in the meeting materials. This particular table that's being shown is the table that is generally seen in the attachments to the resolutions and explains the measure and then the targets that DOT is setting, which we would be supporting. So therefore, the number of fatalities, fatality rate, the number of serious injuries, the serious injury rate, and the number of non-motorized fatalities and serious injuries. And those are the required measures that DOT needs to set targets for. Does anyone have any questions? We've adopted these before for the past couple of years, so. Okay. If no one has any questions, this is another action that would be on the next policy committee meeting agenda. Okay, great.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashley. So Ashley is now, we're going to introduce the cooperative community program discussion. We are attempting to do this activity. It's been a task outlined in our UPWP for some time, and we have finally, put together kind of a draft structure for the program. The intent behind this is to provide an opportunity for communities, municipalities to have access to some of the planning funds that we have available to us. So we've structured a program that I'll let Ashley explain how we've structured it. And it's in draft form. It'll take the form of a call for projects eventually, but we would really like your input with respect to potential focus areas. So I'll let Ashley explain a little bit, and then hopefully we can have some discussion about it.
Okay. So the cooperative community program, as Julie said, it's been a task in the UPWP for a couple of years now. So we've been drafting what the program might look like. So it's a call for projects that's designed to implement the adopted goals and objectives of the LRTP. So we're doing that by working with the member municipalities, obviously, to identify planning projects in the county and the region. So this task is allocating approximately $130,000 for the 2021-2022 UPWP year, and we're proposing that projects not exceed the cost of $65,000. So this program is not a grant program, so none of the funds will pass through to the municipalities. Orange County will administer the contract and manage the project along with the municipality that's approved through the application process. And then overall applicants would be asked to provide the application, a cover letter, a project map, and a supporting resolution. And then once everyone has submitted, the deadline is in October for all submissions. And then OCTC staff would go through and review all of the applications for completeness, and then we would convene a review subcommittee to review the applications and rank them and score them. And then once the subcommittee reviews the applications, they would make their final recommendations to the planning committee, and the planning committee, once they make their final recommendations, it would go into the draft UPWP for next year, and move through the approval process that way. So each project would become its own task. Does anyone have any initial questions for it maybe before I get into some of the other discussion items?
Yeah, Ashley, this is Glenn.
Hi, Glenn.
Hey, it sounds similar to what they're doing in Ulster County. We've been involved in a few of these studies, and it's really been sort of helpful seed money to attract larger money for projects. I know the town of Rosendale did a study for wayfinding that helped them attract some additional money, and there's been a number of corridor studies on Route 9W and other places. So I'm very happy to hear that Orange County is moving in this direction.
Great, that's great feedback. Thanks, Glenn. Right. So, and just to be clear, so as everyone knows, the UPWP funding, you can't use it for construction, so this is for planning purposes only. So I guess in developing the program, we did have a couple of questions for people. One of them was how people felt about having a minimum project cost. We're asking that the project not exceed about $65,000, but would people find it to be beneficial if there was a minimum project cost as part of the solicitation? If anyone has any thoughts. Glenn, I'm not sure if you've seen any sort of minimums in other programs structured like this at all.
Well, in Ulster County, the maximum is $60,000 for a study.
Okay, thank you.
So we're in a good ballpark with respect to the maximum. The minimum amount, it was really would benefit staff in terms of administering the projects. We're not sure if we established a minimum, you know, it would just kind of, there's a certain degree of where you have to outweigh the cost of administering something and procuring a consultant and managing the project. We're not sure we would want to do a bunch of small $5,000 projects. So that's where the sort of the impetus for establishing a minimum would come in.
You may not be able to attract consultants to do something for that amount.
What about 25 grand?
Yes, that's kind of what we were thinking.
Okay. Okay. And then these questions that we're talking about now, actually, this is going to be part of the email that we're sending out. We'll give people some time to respond as well. But Mike, we were actually thinking about a $25,000 minimum. So.
Yeah, that's reasonable. You can't get any of these consultants for less than that anyway.
Okay. But yeah, that's good. That's good feedback. And then I think the
You're
other
having a sale,
question.
Glenn, right? I think Glenn is having a sale, Ashley. He can do it for 15.
I think I'm about to mute.
Oh, no. Okay, great. The other question we were looking for feedback on was if members had thoughts on specific project categories to be included in the application, or if leaving it open-ended with just project examples would be more beneficial, or if there were certain topics that people would prefer to see projects, you know, tasked with in the UPWP. Some of these would, you know, the project kind of like bucket could include like non-motorized plans, resiliency plans, wayfinding like Glenn mentioned, transit studies, corridor plans, or road safety assessments, things like that. So we could kind of narrow, I guess, the scope of what projects are eligible, or we could leave it open-ended. But we were just curious how people felt about that as well.
We're really trying to get a sense from the members of what the need might be in the community. Because again, from an administrative perspective for us, if we leave it open-ended, it becomes very complicated trying to find one consultant perhaps that can handle, that has qualifications to handle what could be two very different types of feasibility studies or streetscape design type thing. So we were trying to determine if we could sort of limit the buckets of potential studies to what's really needed in the community. And we don't know at this point, because this is the first time we're initiating this program. So we're gonna learn a lot from this first round, but do any of the members have thoughts on things you definitely want to see in there?
So this is Brian Marr from the town of Montgomery. We're currently doing a 17K corridor study, and we're looking at our infrastructure that's there. Basically it's a market study of what we might potentially be able to do, and we find it amazingly valuable, the idea of it. We're looking to have it done in parallel with our comprehensive plan and potential rezonings that we do right now over the next couple of years. So I'm a big proponent of things like this, and we are using Delaware Engineering. We've had a great experience with them in the past, and I would advocate the county identifying areas within the county that are corridors to study, and I'm fully supportive of us figure on that.
Thank you. Okay. Unless anyone has any other, I guess, thoughts right now, I will send out these questions so you will have an opportunity to think about it and get back to us with any thoughts. And then once everyone's able to respond, we'll rework the draft solicitation, and we will potentially send it out. And then once the solicitation opens up, I believe applications are due October 9th. So I think that's a fair amount of time for people to be able to apply. So also be looking for any of the members who would like to be on the review subcommittee. I'll add that into the email, but feel free to let me know if you'd like to participate in that. So, okay, great. Does anyone else have any other questions about the Cooperative Community Program? Great. Okay, I know we're just a little bit over 11 a.m., but I think we're wrapping things up. Tentatively, I'd like to schedule a policy committee meeting for the September meeting. So, save the date. It would be September 8th. Policy meetings are traditionally at 1 p.m. So I will send out a save the date reminder for that. Does September 8th, are there any conflicts that anyone knows of? Okay. And Julie, did you have any other reports that you wanted to?
No, can you hear me? I think my volume got cut off. Can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. No, just pointing out September 8th is the day after Labor Day, so I don't know if that's an issue for anyone. We'll continue to do these meetings virtually, so hopefully it's not an issue. No, I don't have any other updates.
Great. Does anyone else have any updates they'd like to share or any reports?
Actually, I just had a question. I don't know if
Sure.
DOT might be able to answer. We had some information from our local senator that there was going to be some road improvements on Route 52 from Walden to Pine Bush. I'm not sure if we have any update on when that might actually take place.
I have not heard anything
Yeah, hi,
about
it's
that,
Sandra.
Julie.
I can look into it. Can you, Julie, do you mind just following up with an email on the route and the limits? And we'll look into that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Does anyone else have any reports or questions? Okay. Hearing none, I think Harry generally asks for a motion to adjourn. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion, Jacob.
Motion.
Have a good day.
Great, thanks.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Second.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Good meeting.
Thank you. Have a nice afternoon, everyone.
Thank you.